All right, y'all, we're gonna go ahead and call this meeting to order. Go ahead and have a seat. Okay, welcome everyone for our May Luncheon. We're happy to have y'all here today with us. We are gonna just go ahead and start with our prayer by Sharon Simmons, and then we'll go to announcements.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we're thankful to Thee to be together at this meeting and for the meal Thou provides us through Carrie and her staff. We're thankful to Thee to welcome our guest speaker, House Speaker Mike Schultz. We're grateful he's here and we look forward to hearing from him. We're thankful to Thee for the law enforcement officers joining us today as our special guests. We're happy they're here and we're grateful for them, we're grateful for them and all their officers for keeping our county safe. And Father, we're grateful to Thee for the Supreme Court's ruling on gerrymandering. Father, we ask Thy blessing for Mike. May he enjoy some downtime and may he be successful in his efforts in the next legislative session. We ask Thy blessing for all our law enforcement officers. May they remain safe in their work. We ask Thy blessing for former longtime club member Effie Lachkowski, whose beloved husband Hans passed away earlier this month. May she feel our caring, support, condolences, and prayers as she grieves her loss. Lastly, Father, we ask Thy blessing for the two families of our fallen St. George police officers, Officer and Reserve Deputy Joshua R. Wilson in 2024, and Officer J. Adam Ashworth in 2021. May they know their loved one is remembered and honored for their service. Father, we humbly ask these blessings in Thy name with Thy beloved Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
All right, I have a lot of announcements here. We do have some special guests here today besides Speaker Schultz. So I do want to recognize, especially because it's Police Month, Adley, y'all are here in the front, but you probably want food first. Yeah, I'm pointing out, you're walking in late. All right, we have our Sheriff Goulding, I think. Okay, right over here, our newly elected sheriff. We're glad to have him here. We also have, we should have Chief Licalzi, am I saying that right? From Utah Tech, I think was going to be here. Maybe not.
I haven't seen him.
Not here. Okay. Chief Yates from Hurricane. We have Captain Hepler here for Chief Whitehead representing St. George. He's also, we're going to just go ahead and call him our sheriff-elect. And then we have Chief Studley from Santa Clara Islands here as well.
He's out of town.
Oh, he's out of town?
He's in the FBI training.
Oh, he's in an FBI. So grateful for all of these wonderful members who work at keeping Washington County safe. Just really appreciate their service. I do want to announce elected officials, but I don't want to forget anybody. So if you are an elected official, let's just go ahead and stand up, and then I can name you and you can sit back down. So we have Celeste Myers is our King County Commissioner, and Gwen, yes, Brown? Yes, Gwen Brown, Kane County too. We have Dylan Hurt, Ivins City Council, Commissioner Adam Snow. We have Representative Rex Ship here in the front, Commissioner Victor Iverson, Santa Clara City Council, Janine Burton, our state school board member, Joanne Britton, We have Troy Dulliston, Washington City Council, and Walt Brooks, Representative Walt Brooks. All right. Joe and Representative Elizabeth. Yes.
Really
Okay, I didn't
going.
miss anybody, right?
Really going.
Y'all see why I had everybody. Oh, yes, we also have the chair of the Washington County Republican Party here, Willie Billings. His vice chair, Haley Kaplan. Over here. All right. Did I get everybody? Oh my gosh, y'all, I'm gonna leave somebody out. All right. We have a lot of announcements. Our club is in need of volunteers for these positions. So if you're interested, shoot me an email. The NFRW Achievement Awards tracking. We need somebody who can track all of our members' volunteer hours for our club. Our club has won a lot of national awards at this. So we also could use a parliamentarian. So if anybody has those skills, that would be great. Caring for America Community Outreach, our annual charity. And there are new volunteer hour forms on the tables. So members need to record theirs from January through April on just the one form. All right, there are index cards on all y'all's tables. And those are, if you're not used to coming, those are for your questions for your Schultz. So we'll be walking around, grabbing your index cards. We will prioritize the questions from like our club members first. And okay, I'm supposed to be giving time for Brandon. Brandon is going to be our new, oh there you are, our new president of Elephant Club, and he's going to tell you about an event we've got coming up next month.
All right, thank you, Alexis. Real quick, don't want to take too much of your time. Just want to introduce the Elephant Club to those of you that may be new to this term. By raise of hands, how many of you have been involved in the Elephant Club in the past? A good majority, right? Or at least a percentage. So the Elephant Club is making an official launch here in Southern Utah. Again, we were here a couple years ago or a year and a half ago. We still have several members down here, but we want to grow the club. And so, real quick, the perks and benefits of the Elephant Club is the fundraising arm of the party, okay? It helps us get conservative candidates elected. It helps us have several events here down in the Southern District. We have 3 to 4 events a year. And we will be June revised the membership fees and go ahead and making an official full launch in June. One thing about June is that we do have our Showdown event coming up, the debate between Simon. We'd encourage all of you to become Elephant Club members. If many of you already are WCRW members, gym members, so you'll have the ability to meet and greet with the candidates beforehand. This debate will be Tuesday, the 16th of June, and we'd like to welcome you all out to that. This will be our initial kickoff for the year, and so we definitely would like to welcome you up to that. If you have any questions or concerns, comments, come talk to me afterwards. I'll be more than happy to share more information with you. But thank you, Alexis, for allowing us some time.
All right. Okay, just a few more things I forgot because there's a lot of announcements on here. Let's go ahead. If you are running for office, if you're a candidate right now, will you please stand up? A lot of the same people, but we're so glad y'all are here. Oh, but didn't want to miss that. Okay, 3 more things. The Washington County Republican Party is hosting a debate on June 9th for county commission. So from 5 to 6, you can come and meet the candidates. 6 to 8, there's the debate. For UFRW, our next informal series is going to be with Senator Mike Lee. And so stay tuned for a date on that. I think we're still waiting. There, we're okay, sometime. Tuesday is also the summer social for WCRW. All right, yeah, for very announcements. We're gonna go to the American.
Oh, Americanism.
Yes, we're gonna go to our Americanism and pledge and
I forgot my Americanism sash. I apologize. My daughter had her last day school today, and we had our field water day, and so I thought I'd be drenched, but I'm not. So I'm glad I'm here. Months ago, Jordan Hess wrote an awesome tribute to the American experiment. I've taken his words and tweaked them for our purpose here today. What is the great American experiment? It's a test to see whether a nation based on Enlightenment ideals, liberty, justice, and self-governance could survive and flourish without a monarch or an aristocracy. It was considered an experiment because at its inception in 1776, most of the world believed that only strong kings could hold large, diverse populations together, and that a government run by the people would inevitably collapse into chaos. Nearly 230,000 American patriots fought for our freedoms during the Revolutionary War. That was nearly 10% of the population at the time. These patriots made the American experiment a reality. In 1776, nearly 90% of America practiced agriculture. Americans were, by and large, poor agriculture families who worked hard every day to sustain life. On one hand, Americans were very individualistic, relying only on themselves for survival. On the other hand, they were very community-focused, knowing that they couldn't do it all alone. Alexis de Tocqueville observed that Americans in the 1830s were defined by an intense, equality-minded individualism, seeing themselves as equal to one another, no rigid class system, no social ranks, tempered by unique art of association. He noticed a passion for civic engagement, voluntary organizations, and local self-rule, allowing them to manage affairs without relying on a central government, which he saw as key to preventing tyranny. Are you noticing a pattern? Washington County is very much a piece of the great American experiment. The first families in the area were farmers. They were poor, they struggled to make ends meet and survive in the Red Rock deserts of southern Utah. The Dixie pioneers had a grit and determination that many of us today could only dream of. During World War II, Washington County's population was around 9,200. Several hundred people of the population of Washington County served to safeguard the freedoms that we enjoy. About 100 of those men and women were from Washington City. Although we are an individualistic people and believe in self-governance, we too know that we can't do life alone. And therefore, we come together in Rotaries, Lions Clubs, Little League teams, book clubs, church groups, study groups, Facebook groups, volunteer groups, Republican women groups, and so forth. Like the Americans of the 1830s, those of us in this room and more in our county have a passion for civic engagement, voluntary organizations, and local self-rule. De Tocqueville would be proud. We see the grit, the service, the support, and the engagement all around us. Washington County is America's county. We are all part of the American experiment. Please stand and recite. Please begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
all right. Sit down. Great.
And that I a little Capleton of our club was born the month of May. And with that, each of us, please stand, and I know most of you are here that are on this card, so please stand. There's a few of you that are a little shy and didn't stand up, but happy birthday. As far as membership is concerned, this has been a good year for our club. It is we have one of the highest memberships that we've had in a few years, but we need more members. We're always wanting to be the outstanding member and our escalation of membership, and we have one more tier to go, and we need to reach that tier by July 1st, and then we will get the very top award the National Federation of Republican Women provides. So you can sign up as, and we would love to have you join. And Janine in a few minutes is going to talk to you about membership. But next on my list is that we also have some of you have already bought a 250 pin. If you haven't and you have to get one, they're available out front. And next, we do have some people that are here today that are new members, or they have joined over the last several months, but for whatever reason weren't able to join us. First of all, we have a new member, and that is Wendy Foley. Wendy? Okay. And Wendy Foley, you have your name badge is on your certificate, and then also one of our friends. Thank you for joining. And next we have Audrey Spencer. Audrey? And also, she's a gold member, so she paid a little bit more to get some extra benefits. And so she's a gold member, and Minnie, or Audrey, I'm sorry. On the back is a little decal that you can put on top of your name badge that provides your gold designation. And you too receive one of those pins. And I'm so glad that this person is here today because he hasn't been able to make it the last few. And I'm really excited to hear that he's going to be the new chairman of the Elephant Club. And that's Brendan Morgan. He's a silver member. And this guy hasn't been with us for a few months. He's our representative, and I'm so glad he's here. And that's Joseph Elison, and he's a full member. Yay. And let's see, she made it. She's here. Our next person is Troy. Troy Hoster, and she is a gold member. And finally, in our top category of membership is a diamond member, and that is Troy Belliston. And Troy, there's your little decal for your name badge is on the back of you. As a diamond member, you get one of our pins. With that, I'm going to turn the microphone over to my friend Janine, and she's going to talk to you about membership.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you today. I want to give a big shout out to Mark Schultz, our speaker. Really special to me. I don't want to choke up too much, but he gave me a wonderful citation when my son was killed in Ukraine, and actually gave a citation in the House and the Senate, and it was because of speaker that they did that, and I thought it was really special, so thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in a world where so many people complain about the direction of our country, one of the most powerful things that we can do is become involved. That is why I believe joining the Washington County Women's Republican Club is so important. This club is more than politics. It's about friendship, education, service, and having a voice. It brings together women who are deeply caring about our faith, our family, our freedom, and the future of our communities. Women who want to make a difference, not just talk about it. When you join, you become informed about the issues that affect our families, our schools, our businesses, and our nation. You meet elected leaders, hear from inspiring speakers like Speaker Schultz today, and learn how government decisions impact everyday life. But even more importantly, you discover that your voice does matter. The Washington County Women's Republican Club creates opportunities to serve, whether it's supporting veterans, helping with community events, encouraging young leaders, or working during elections. Members are making a real difference right here in Southern Utah. And we just encourage you to please join us if you haven't already. We would love it if you did. Thank you.
Jennifer. No, Jennifer's outside. Okay. I guess she's gonna miss her report. All right. We're gonna skip the financial report. She did put a little lip at the bottom of the program for those who are using the financial report. All right, y'all. Jennifer, it's time for your report. Come on up.
Well, as a treasurer, we got money. We're good. That's all you need to know. The other comment I wanted to make, for those of you who use Venmo, Venmo has added a new spout. And it's to guarantee that when you purchase something, you're actually getting what you are purchasing. Do not check that box. We get charged the fee. And it's not very much, but it's a pain in the neck because it's not, I'm used to like $25 or $30, not $25.34, right? So, or $24.34. But just watch that. I just want to let everybody know that this is something new. I mean, it's been the last 2 or 3 months that I've even noticed it. And I have used it when I went to buy something at someone's door. And she let me know and said, you didn't pay me enough. So anyway, that's how I found out about it. So that's it. That's all my report is. If you got any questions, I'll tell you what, if there's anybody who is oriented towards the money side of things, I would love to talk to you about helping us out. So, okay.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get this party started. I'm gonna just read a really short bio. So Mike Schultz has represented Utah's 12th House District since 2015 and currently serves as Speaker of the House. He has championed policies like increasing funding for Utah students, conserving Utah's water supply, and investing in transportation infrastructure, all while balancing the budget and cutting taxes. Speaker Schultz and his wife Melissa are the proud parents of 6 children and 3 grandchildren. When not busy with work, he can be found in the great outdoors hunting, fishing, snowmobiling, or fixing something on the ranch. I was so glad that Janine brought up the really, really nice gesture of Speaker Schultz doing that citation when she lost her son. She didn't say it was like literally in the last 2 weeks of the session, and on a Sunday I was like, I don't know how to help my grieving friend, and all of a sudden I just have this thought and sent Speaker a text, and I'm like, what do you think? I know it's crazy right now. The last 2 weeks is just bananas, and if you've been there, you know. And it was just awesome the way he just made that happen. I really think that has kind of been my experience with Speaker Schultz, is that people really matter to him. And clearly his delegates thought so too, because I don't know that I've ever seen a candidate get 94.6%. I mean, he couldn't convince the poor woman who tried to run against him to vote for him, but I mean, I think there were three delegates he couldn't convince. And so I think that his delegates and his constituents are really happy to have him serving, and I'm really happy to have him serving in the state of Utah. So y'all please help me give a warm welcome to Speaker Schultz. We are going to do questions, so go ahead. You've got no cards on your tables, and we'll take questions after you.
Well, hey, it's really good to be with all of you guys today. I probably shouldn't have favorite counties. It's kind of like your kids. You probably shouldn't have favorite kids. And you probably shouldn't have kids that you don't like. I'm not going to say I don't. I have all my kids I like. There might be a couple counties that I have that are my favorite, and there might be a couple counties like Salt Lake County or Southern County that maybe don't quite make it into that favorite list. I won't say dislike, but Washington County is certainly one of the best counties in the state, and you have amazing. And I mean that very sincerely. Politics and campaign. Actually, one of my favorite representatives and people that I've served with in the House of Representatives is from Kane County, Mike Noel. Most of you probably remember Noel Herd Bull, that we call him, but Kane's a great county. You know, we're in Washington County today, and I'm just here to tell you, you politics in Washington County, if we could duplicate you across the state of Utah, it would make my life a lot easier and many others. And I want to give a shout out quick to your commissioners. I get to meet, of course, Kane County's got great commissioners as well. Celeste is amazing. But I just have to say, very involved at the state level, representing your interests. There's a few times when I've got sideways, once maybe, sideways with your county commissioners, and it was not a pleasant sight for me. I'll just say that. It was a very bad day. And but we worked it out. We found a way. We came together, and that's what politics should be about. We don't always agree, but we sit down and figure out a way forward to make things better for the citizens of Washington County and the state. And so, very well ran county. And you look at your numbers. It's been 16 years since you raised property taxes in Washington County. Tell me how many counties can say that, especially in today's day and age. Property tax has been one of the biggest, most controversial issues in the state of Utah over the last couple of years. And so it's great to see and work with those counties that find ways to live within their budget and are not having to raise property taxes on a regular basis. You've got a great delegation serving in the House of Representatives. I see most of them here today. Certainly Walt Brooks, Joseph Elison, Neil Walter. I don't think Neil's here today. Rex Ship. Do you have Washington County? I think you're more of Iron County, right?
We claim it.
We
He's a good one to claim. And then,
I like joining these folks.
then of course, Representative Colin Jack is amazing. And maybe I'll just give a little shout out. Sometimes I say this quite often. God works in mysterious ways sometimes. Do you know Utah has the lowest energy prices out of any other state in the nation right now? And if you know Representative Jack, I think he's been in the legislature 5 years now. When he came in, he helped the state of Utah get ahead of all the other states in the nation and preserve our power here in the state of Utah. And it's been an extreme blessing to have him come in at the time that he came in. He's an electrical engineer, works for not Deseret Power, but Dixie Power. Dixie Power. It's just been a wealth of knowledge. And, big utility companies like Rocky Mountain Power need pushback sometimes. And it's great to have someone in the legislature that can talk the talk and not get fed a line of BS. And we can go to call Representative Jack and find out what the actual truth is sometimes. And so he's been a leader on that front, which, when you see so many states struggling for energy, I'm proud to say we have plenty of energy here in the state of Utah. We've worked to keep your energy rates #1 in best in the nation. And that was Representative Jack leading the charge. Certainly the Senate, we like to have a little bit of tug of war sometimes between the House and the Senate, but they're great colleagues. And Senator Ibsen, Senator Owens, I think as well, Vickers represents Southern Utah. Just all the way around. Talk about that quite often about those that are elected in the state legislature in the state of Utah. We don't always agree on all the issues, and sometimes you see it play out. Most of the time you don't see it play out as much, but I'm always impressed by those that are elected in the state legislature, how much they care about Utah. And they're here, they're doing it for the right reasons, despite what you see on social media, despite what you see in the press. Sometimes they're really good people. And it's one of the reasons why Utah is one of the best ranked states in the nation, or the best ranked state in the nation. I'll talk about that now. But before I get to that, I guess, you all and groups like you, the Washington County Republican Women, certainly one of the leaders in the state. But you have so many groups all across the state, similar to you, that are really outworking and helping the legislature find the right balance on policy, getting engaged. You have to get engaged in the process, and you make a difference. And I don't think other states operate that way, to where it truly is a citizen-led legislature, but also the groups that come up and work together with the elected officials and with the lawmakers to push good policy. I'm going to talk about a list of #1s, because Utah, by far, is the best state in the nation. I'm not just saying the best place to live, whether you're in the Red Rocks of southern Utah. Utah truly is the best state in the nation to live in for a whole host of fronts. But let's talk about some of the things that policy-wise Utah's leading out across the nation on. This just came out a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago now. Utah is the #1 best state for protecting our kids. And it's because of you guys. It truly is because of you guys and the moms that get involved, that come up and push for good policies that make a difference. I see it every day. I get to see it. You got Representative Shipp that ran a bill this last year completely banning sex changes and hormone therapy treatments for minors. It's been, and it comes, and it truly does come from the moms in the state of Utah. And that's what's led Utah to be the #1 best state to protecting our kids, and that tight. So it takes the people, and then all these #1s I'm going to read off. It takes the people working with their elected officials to get to these spots. So #1 best managed state in the nation for 3 years in a row. #1 most fiscally managed, or best fiscally managed state in the nation. Did you know that Utah has less debt today than we did 30 years ago? We could pay off our debt completely right now. We have more money sitting in our reserve accounts than debt by a long shot. But because we're making 4 to 5% interest in those reserve accounts, and we refinanced Utah's debt in late 2019, I think, maybe it was 2020. We're making 4 to 5% in the bank accounts, and we're only paying interest about 1.5% to 2%. So we're actually making money. So Utah could be completely debt-free today if that was the smartest thing to do business-wise, but it's not. We're going to keep that money in the bank account, pay off the debt as scheduled, but just know Utah could be completely debt-free today if we wanted to be. Utah was just recognized by rich states, poor states, number one best state in the nation, 19 years in a row. That's one of the longest running in the nation, and that's by a ALEC organization. Rich States, Poor States is put out by ALEC. They're one of the most conservative legislative groups across the nation. So that one truly is an honor for State Utah. Number one for social mobility. That means we are moving more people out of lower class into middle class and out of middle class into upper class than any other state in the nation. Number one state in the nation for social mobility, upward mobility. And it's because we work to find opportunities, right? We work to create opportunities for the citizens of the state, and the government gets the hell out of the way and lets the citizen succeed. And that's so important. Another one that I'm most proud about, Utah is number one most independent state in the nation.
Yeah.
And that means a lot to me. Number one for employment, number one for small business, and lowest electricity rates, already talked about that. So now, anybody think that's easy to keep us in that same spot, especially in today's political environment where you have fringes on all sides, people and trying to find that balance? So that's our balance, or that's our job moving forward as elected officials and as citizens. I just want to issue a challenge to all of you to continue to stay involved, continue to work with your local elected officials, because it takes all of us to keep headed in that direction. And it's not easy, especially right now, especially with the left. Utah's and policies and success has caught the eye of the Democrat Party, and there's a concerted effort right now nationwide to turn Utah, Arizona, the same program. And what happens? How do they do that? They get conservatives and liberals, the left, fighting against each other. And you're seeing this play out right now. And then they sow doubt in the elected officials all across the state. Doesn't matter the area of government. You really saw that play out in municipal elections. I've never seen the Democrat Party engaged like they did this last municipal cycle election. And they found a lot of success. They found a lot of success in cities and counties across the state, especially cities. So now they're trying to roll that same success, and you're actually seeing it play out right now in the state. And of course, the redistricting mess, that was all done by out-of-state money. Utah got shoved into that debate. We wanted no part of it, but we got shoved into and forced into it by outside money coming into Utah and outside groups. So, one of the biggest things is that we're facing, that we hear on a regular basis, is affordability issues. It's something that we've taken seriously in the state level. Now, there's not a lot that the government could and should do on affordability issues, but there are some things that we can do. And because I mentioned, everybody wants government to fix all the problems, but we all know that doesn't happen. And so a lot of times, most of the time, government gets involved, makes it worse. And so keeping government out of the way is super important, and I think one of the best things we can do for affordability. But there are some things that we can do, and one of the ones, taxes, right? We worked together this last session with the petroleum industry we reduced the gas tax by 15% this last session, but more importantly, and this is a bigger thing, we worked with the petroleum and oil and gas industry to create more supply into Utah to help keep prices lower. Over the next, now it'll take about 3 to 5 years to get that fully implemented. But once that happens, we're looking probably somewhere between 20 to 30 cents in the summer reduction in gas prices here than what otherwise would have been. So California, weird. Those 2 refineries produce more gasoline. 5 refineries do here in the state of Utah. And that's what is a strain on the supply here in Utah that's actually driven up our costs. So we're working to try to get more supply and produce more supply here in the state of Utah so that we can drive those prices down. We passed another tax cut this year. Over the last several years, we have reduced income taxes by 11%. You will pay 11% less on your income taxes today than you did a few years ago. And so those are things that we can work on. We expanded the child tax credit so that to try to make it more affordable for families. We have a serious problem all across our nation, and it's caught up to Utah just this last couple of years, and that's the declining birth rate. It should make us all really nervous. We are no longer at an old even number. We are not having enough kids. The nation's been this way for several years, maybe even close to a decade. But that just caught up to us 2 years ago here in the state of Utah. And so give your kids a nudge. Where's Rayleigh? Rayleigh's, where is she? There we are. Rayleigh, she's pregnant. We're expecting about 4 more. Bring that birth rate up. Oh, Haley's pregnant too. Let's see, what else do we want to talk about before we get to questions? A couple things. So one of the things that I worked on this last year was trying to restore trust and accountability in the criminal justice system. I was caught for the second time. And but more importantly, the comments that were made were just completely out of line. And the judiciary chose not to do anything about it. So there's a handful of us. It's actually a bipartisan effort. I went to the minority leader in the House and Representative Romero, and she was just as fuming mad as I was. And so we came together and issued a statement and called them out and asked for the judiciary to do something about it. And they chose not to do anything about it. And so as a House of Representatives, we actually censured Judge Torgerson this last session. But what that led to is they pointed back to, well, it was within the Sentencing Commission guidelines. So we started looking at the Sentencing Commission guidelines and what they were. When I first came in the legislature 12 years ago, Brad Lass will remember this, there was a push by the more libertarian side of our Republican Party to reduce criminal penalties. And of course, you partner that with the Democrats, and those bills flied through for several years. And you're now seeing, we've seen the effects of that over the last couple of years. And it's not worked out like we were told that it was going to work out. And so we've really worked hard to strengthen penalties and hold criminals accountable over the last couple of years. And we're finally getting there. And we still have more work to do. One of the concerns that's out there is, we don't have enough prison space right now. So we set aside $125 million for an expansion of the prison in Gunnison this last legislative session. So that is starting to work its way through the process. We are getting ahead of these things so that the people that commit the crimes can be held accountable. We have completely turned around the homelessness stuff in the state of Utah and the policies. It's no longer a housing first policy. We've worked really hard over the last couple of years to turn this around, and we're seeing really good results because of it. We're holding people accountable. Look, if people fall on hard times for a short period of time or something like that, a safety net needs to be there. That's super important. But the good portion of these are chronic, and most of it come down to one or two things, mostly drug abuse and some mental illness. But when you combine the drug abuse with the mental illness, that becomes really, really problematic. Now, a lot of these people don't want help, and there's nothing we can do with those people that don't want help other than hold them accountable. And, that's what we're going to do. We're actually expanding, working with the Department of Corrections in Salt Lake County, to expand a jail or a holding facility for those that are just sitting around dealing drugs or doing drugs in the parks. We're going to start holding them accountable, and we will now have a place for them to go and hold them. And if they want to be held accountable, then they could probably go to California or another state to hold them accountable. That's the way. But I want to follow that up for the ones that do want the help, the ones that do need the help. We also want to make sure that we have the best programs out there. And so that's the balance that we're trying to find right now. And the early results are actually showing. So just this last year was announced last week, homelessness has fallen in the state of Utah for the first time ever that I'm aware of. So it's working. And a little bit of accountability will do, right? Hold people accountable for the decisions they make. Okay, the judiciary. I'm going to talk about that for just a minute. So trying to create some trust and build some trust with the judiciary and some reforms there. So this past year, we had a constitutional court, because right now, whether it was Judge Gibson or Judge Scott, both judges have not been very favorable and lean differently than most of the politics in the state of Utah. And you've seen them rule against, just this last year, things like the scholarship, the Utah Fits All scholarship, the parental choice for education program that we passed a few years ago. They ruled against that and struck it down. Now, they didn't put a stay in place because they would have displaced 20,000 kids in Utah and not getting their education that they chose to get. And we actually created worked on a constitutional amendment a few years ago. It was Amendment G. Brad was in the middle of this. Brad Last was in the middle of this, but it was a great compromise where the education community came together with the legislature. We held arms and went out and passed this constitutional amendment. But that amendment allowed for programs for kids. And, certainly this is a program for kids, but yet somehow this judge struck it down. Of course, the redistricting, I don't need to get into that. You all know about that, with Judge Gibson actually picking a map drawn by the League of Women Voters and Mormon Women for Ethical Government. Actually picked that map. I mean, just think about that. It is the most gerrymandered map in probably anywhere in the country. And you look at the goals of Prop 4, right? And whether you agree with Proposition 4 or disagree with Proposition 4, I'm strongly against Proposition 4. But Judge Gibson, let me make sure I said that, strongly against Proposition 4, okay, for me. But whether you're in favor of it or whether you're not, Judge Gibson went clear outside of what Proposition 4 is. And judges are there to interpret the laws, not make the laws. And Judge Gibson created a new process, created a pathway in which she could pick the map. There is nothing in Proposition 4 or our Constitution that allows that. In fact, our Constitution is supposed to prohibit it because they're supposed to interpret laws, not make them up. So you look at that and all these, we got a lawsuit on us on the Great Salt Lake, abortion. We passed the trigger laws 3 or 4 years before Roe versus Wade was overturned. Somehow, the courts and judges, or the courts and attorneys, are arguing over whether or not abortion, our founding fathers, when they created our Constitution in 1896, anticipated that abortion would be legal in the state of Utah. They were trying to make that argument. And our Supreme Court actually went along with that, with granting the stay to Planned Parenthood, or granting them Planned Parenthood standing, and which blew every legal mind around that they actually did that. So to see that stretch to that point, but really they filed these lawsuits in the 3rd district because it's of the very liberal district. It's downtown Salt Lake. But we created this constitutional court where you have 3 members now to hear these constitutional questions of the constitutional court, and only one can be from one district in the state. So worst case, you get one district from, or one judge from the 3rd district. Best case, you get judges from Washington County. So, but so you're not just having one judge make these decisions. That's from downtown Salt Lake. It's significantly different than the rest of the state because it does have a statewide impact. So, and then you got a year or 2 of the Supreme Court to get overturned or upheld, depending on which it was. So that was a big one. We added 2 members to the Supreme Court, and those 2 members, I think the governor will be announcing those 2 members. And the 12, I know he's thinking about 4 or 5, and of the 4 or 5 that I've looked at, actually really incredible judges. So, and then we had Justice Hagan that just resigned. That's a so that will play out, and hopefully by July we have a new Supreme Court justice there. And Chief Justice Durant, great guy. I disagree with him on some of his decisions, but he really is a really good person, really good human being. His health has been in decline, and there's a lot of speculation that he'll likely resign sometime in the coming months, I'm going to say. And so all of a sudden, you're looking at 5 new members on the Supreme Court, probably hopefully within the next 6 months overall. Pullman, that is up for retention election. Vote how you want, but I'm going to vote no. So, anyways, there's HB 540, disclosures, and making things available for the court. So this actually came about with Judge Torgerson. We said, let's, those of us that were looking into it, let's see if we have a pattern. So I asked our attorneys to go see if they can find all the court cases and bring it to me and see if there's a pattern of letting these sexual offenders off and with no penalties really. And they came back to me with, I think, 4 or 5 articles from the paper. I said, no, I want to know his decisions. And they're like, we can't get them. Like, what do you mean? You're legislative attorneys. You can't get his decisions. How's the public supposed to get them? They're like, yeah, it's not available. You got to pay to be part of the program. And then you have to know a specific case to look it up and everything like that. So we started to dig into it. Utah's courts were ranked dead last. It was tied for 4 other states. Okay, so 4 states tied for dead last for transparency. And so we worked with Representative Logan Monson on HB 540. We worked with the courts and got that. And so they will now have to disclose any conflicts. They never disclosed any conflicts. They will have to disclose conflicts with their spouses. It'll be the same as what the legislature has to disclose. And then it'll be similar to the legislative website. You can get up and look on the legislative website, look at any vote elected member is made, and You will now be able to do that with the judges as well. So that let me I'll probably skip all of this because I really want to get to the questions. One of the things that's made Utah, this comes well before I came into legislature, I believe it's in our heritage here in the state of Utah. The reason why we do so well is we don't just solve the problems that are facing today. We business does, right? If you're in business, you're looking at what's coming a year from now, 2 years from now, 5, 10, 15 years from now. What's that going to look like? As I work with other speakers across the country, they're all focused on the here and now, right? And a great example of Utah getting ahead of it, I talked a little bit about Representative Colin Jack. We got ahead of the energy crisis coming to the state of Utah. We're bearing the fruits of that today when the other states did. And so one of the things that was to us is that years ago was given to us by former leaders here in the state of Utah. We want to make sure that we can continue to any organization or anything else. We have our problems. Some of them I'd like to solve. Some of them, others would probably like to solve. I'm standing in the way, or there's something else. There's just different issues, competing interests sometimes, but and we certainly have moving forward. But overall, we're an amazing staff. I want to give a shout out to our education community really quick too. Utah has the 4th best education system, public education system, and it is really incredible. They're not looking at the dollars spent, okay? And so Utah, as a percentage of our budget, we spend more than any other state as a percentage of our budget, but because we have kids, the per pupil spending is 48th in the nation to Utah. So we get better results than any other state out there for the dollars spent. And certainly, just like anything else, there's some issues that need to be worked on there, but we have great people like on the state school board. We are working better today, more collaboratively with the state school board and the state school board office. Superintendent Molly Hart is incredible. We're working more collaboratively together than what I've ever seen. So with that, we're ready. How much time do we have?
So we have a lot of questions, so I'm going to ask you to just keep your answers as brief as you can. The first one is your thoughts on the AI Center in Northern Utah, and what should Utah's policy be on data centers locally and nationwide? And reports that you purchased thousands of acres in Northern Utah. Is that true? And what prompted you to purchase this land? So that's like 3 questions in one.
And I'm supposed to keep that short and brief. I think just hit the first one. I do. I have a lot of land in Box Elder County, and despite what 2 far left clowns put out on the internet about me, I don't like to. And so if you get on my social media, you'll see baby calves on my social media. I purchased this property well in a year, over a year, in most cases, several years. But in the most recent case, and in the case they tried to highlight, it was over a year before I had found out about the Box Elder County deal. And very similar, well, let me say this too. They tried to say that it's only 3 miles away. Well, yeah, that's as the crow flies, okay? And that's from one very corner to the other very corner, from my corner to their corner. But if you actually drive it to where the data center is going, it is a 15-mile drive, 25 minutes, with a freeway and a highway. Go through the pass in the mountain range to get to the property. Such an over exaggeration on that. And again, I talked a little bit about what the left is trying to do. So these same people said Governor Cox is his family, and they're the ones that put out the thing that says his family's signed a contract and he's going to make $6 billion off of it through Centricom. Regardless of what you think of Governor Cox, I can promise you that is absolutely not true, not even close to the truth. And nor will it ever, nor will his family or any business that they're associated with be part of that, because it's completely different ends of the state. And so it's not even possible for that to happen. So, but that's the type of lies that are put out there by the left, meant to pull down people, to create doubt. And so now, just like most people, I mean, and most ranchers in the area, I don't personally love this data center. I mean, you can imagine having land in that area. By the way, this land is not even developable. Okay, this is farmland and hills. It's and ranch. It's valleys, hills. It's not even developable land to begin with. Great farm and ranch ground, but it's not even physically possible to develop it because of the grades and the valleys and different things on it. Now, on the flip side, we have to look at what's happening here in the state of Utah and what are the benefits. So I try to wear two different hats, and I truly don't know where I'm at on this yet because we don't know all the information. And that's one thing I'm going to be a little bit critical of is the process in which this rolled out. I can, and Ken O'Leary's created a bunch of problems, getting on Fox News and saying some of the things that's got a lot of people riled up on all sides. And look, there are some very fair questions that need to be answered. What is the water impact? Because we don't know that yet. I can tell you what they're telling us. They're telling us that they're actually going to create more water for the Great Salt Lake because they're not going to use as much as what's currently being used under it, and they're going to pipe it right to the lake. Now, that's what they're saying, but we don't know that that's accurate yet, right? The air quality, that's another one that's big that we don't know. Now, they're saying that they're using new technology that is 90% more efficient with less emissions, 9% less emissions than what the current technology is and has been in power generation. But they haven't quantified exactly what does that mean and what is still going to be the impact on their sheds. So these are fair questions that are being asked that we need answers to, and that I'm really trying to push to get those studies done so that we know. And then once we know, we make a decision based off of accurate information, not the hyperbole that's going around. I mean, the vast majority of the stuff that I'm seeing out there on social media and other areas are not even close to the truth, significantly embellished. But that doesn't mean that there's not an impact. But let's look at what the actual impact is. Now, a couple things that we need to keep in mind. Also, we have to have data centers moving forward. I mean, regardless. I mean, whether it's AI or not, doesn't matter. Anytime you hop on Amazon and order something, or on the internet and order something, or hop on the internet, read the news, whatever it is, stream a TV, watch TV. Most of the TV is being done not by satellites anymore, by streaming. Click an address into your phone. Maps guides you to where you're going. Like everything, that's the cloud. I mean, everybody talks about the cloud. The cloud isn't really the cloud. The clouds are these data centers, okay? And so, and oddly enough, everybody complaining and screaming on social media are using data centers. We know AI is going to disrupt. AI is going to disrupt our jobs here in the state of Utah. We know it's not tens of thousands of jobs, it's hundreds of thousands of jobs that AI will interrupt. And so we, several years ago, Representative Colin Jack was a big part of this. We came together and we said, we don't want to just open the door for data centers here in the state of Utah. And so we worked to pass some restrictions around if data center, you have to generate your own power, right? So you're not energy costs, so on and so forth. Representative Cole disclosures and how much water use and how can't use on data centers and worked on some of those things. We've also, Representative Cal Roberts passed another bill so that we're not giving away the farm on tax incentives for data centers. We've actually passed several pieces of legislation over the last 2.5 years, two years, to make it a little bit harder to make sure that we're not just filling the state up with data centers, because there are a lot of requests coming at us right now. And while we want some of it, because we need some of it for economic development and for opportunities, we also don't want to have data centers take up all of our available space and then not have room for manufacturing and other types of jobs that we know are going to come as well. Utah has the 4th most diverse economic economy in the nation. We want to make sure we keep it that way. We don't want to become too reliant on one sector or the other sector. So trying to find that balance is what I think is the right policy for the state of Utah moving forward. Is this particular one the right one? I don't know the answer to that. But I also know the state has responsibility on the water and on the air and on the impacts there. After that, this is a Box Elder County decision. And it needs to be made not by the state of Utah, but it needs to be made by the Box Elder County officials. So that's the approach that I'm taking to it, and we'll see what happens over the coming months. So sorry that was not, but hopefully that. Okay.
There's a reason we started with that one. Do we have a constitutional amendment coming? Like a new amendment?
I'm not, that's a really good question. And I'm going to say it's not off the table right now. It's not off the table. But I'm going to say it's not as urgent as what it once was a minute ago either, because we want to give time for it to work its way through the courts to then understand what it truly is. And so, because there's still a lot of unanswered questions, and there's still the possibility that the courts could fix this and get it right. And so I'm a guy, and I think we should all, what are the odds, right? So let's, if we go to the ballot and we lose, okay, and we try a constitutional amendment, that kind of ties the court's hands, because the other side is going to say the people spoke, right? On the other hand, if we try the court's side first, maybe we win, maybe we lose. We don't know yet, okay? But if we win, we don't need a constitutional amendment. If we lose, then we can always come back to the constitutional amendment. So you get 2 bites at the apple by playing this out with the courts and the legal process. So that's what we're focused on right now. And again, we talked about a lot of the changes and the turnover in the Supreme Court. I think that gives a lot of people a little bit of hope. So we'll see what happens there.
Okay, Mike is to keep 9 on the U.S. Supreme Court. How do we justify adding to Utah's Supreme Court?
Yeah, so Utah was the only state our size Supreme Court members. I think it was 19 something that it was changed from 3 Supreme Court justices to 5 Supreme Court justices. Our size, well, all states our size are either at 6 or 9 members. And so very few states are at 5 members total. But you see the courts, so as the population and the size, and you look at other states, I think that makes a really good case. But you see the courts and the Supreme Court justices taking on bigger decisions that have more of an impact on your daily lives than they have ever taken before. And I think it's better to have 7 sets of eyes making those decisions than 5 sets of eyes making those decisions.
Hey, there's a couple here. So please address the issue of our Utah Supreme Court and their inability to understand the Constitution. What about the investigation of Justice Hagan? Can we appeal for a mistrial in Prop 4? And then they also ask about like the ocean trigger law. I've got a whole stack of questions all about the Supreme Court. So,
well, let me you know, I don't know where to start with that one, because the plain language reading of the Constitution, we'll just take the redistricting case. Article 9 of the Utah Constitution, if you haven't read it yet, go read it. Article 9 of the state's constitution says that the legislature shall be the ones that draws the states into district, or draws the state up into districts, congressional districts. Period, in the story. Now, how the Supreme Court and a judge played connect the dots through a series of decisions around that plain language reading of the Constitution, I can't answer that. Somebody much smarter than me is going to have to answer that question, other than I think it's flat out wrong. And I think it's much broader and more in-depth, and I'll maybe go answer that with the investigation into. Okay, I'll go pretty deep on this one. This has not been covered by the media. And it's gonna take me a while. How long do we have? Do I need to go quick?
Well, it's 1:00, but you can stay longer and answer
Okay.
questions, and people can leave when they feel like they need to.
Okay, I'll try and go as quick as I can. So, we had no idea that the JCC had done a preliminary, keyword, preliminary investigation into a judge. And we get a grandma request. Somebody tipped off the media, and we get a grandma request. And so the grandma request happens, and my chief of staff calls me and says, "You're not going to believe this." I'm like, "What?" She said, "I'm reading a report right now of Justice Hagan having an affair with the lead attorney on abortion and redistricting." I'm like, "Yeah, you're lying to me." So, "No, I'm serious. You need to come up here." So I ran up there and read the report with her. And there was a lot of allegations in that report, but a couple things. The JCC, which is the Judicial Conduct Commission, chose not to investigate this. Think about that for just a minute. I'm going to walk through a couple of the things. So, like, how do you choose not to investigate it? I mean, you have a sitting Supreme Court justice with these types of allegations on the most high-profile case in the state's history, having an alleged affair with an attorney, the lead attorney, and not just the lead attorney for that case, the abortion case as well. And so then you start to look into why might they not? Well, the JCC chair, Shailene Heyman, is law partners with who? David Raymond, the judge, or not the judge, David Raymond, the attorney on those two cases that's having an alleged affair with the Justice Hagan. And they interviewed the Justice Hagan and the ex-husband under oath. And those two stories, their stories didn't match up. When you answer questions under oath and someone's not answering, you have conflicting information, that means somebody's perjured themselves, right? So you have a high likelihood that a Supreme Court justice perjured herself. And they still chose not to investigate. And you had the attorney, because of course the ex-husband saying, "I have the proof, I got the text messages." But because Justice Hagan in the divorce made him sign, gave him $40,000 to sign a non-disclosure agreement, he said, "I can't just give it to you. You're going to have to subpoena me for it." Because she paid him $40,000 to not disclose things. Well, you would think the first thing you would do was subpoena him. No, they didn't. So the first thing President Adams and I did was subpoena him. So I didn't know this, but the Speaker and the President have subpoena powers. It's never been used before, but we just used it. For this part of this investigation. So we subpoenaed him, and he came and gave us all the text messages. And oh boy, 79 pages and months and months and months of text messages. And I'll leave it at this. So that so then in that text message, get this. So in the text messages, you had Justice Hagan getting drunk with Shailene Hayman, the chair of the JCC, and staying the night multiple times. This happened multiple times at her house. So you see the connections and the cover-up that would happen. To me, that is worse than the affair and having an affair. There was a lot of things that were revealed in these text messages that were really concerning, including the affair, but including just things inside the judiciary that would make us all scratch our head and say, this isn't right. And so I want to give some credit to the Supreme Court, because they didn't read it, the text messages, but they saw the cover-up that had happened inside the JCC, and we issued a statement saying that we're going to make reforms. So it was a joint statement between the legislature, President Adams and myself, the governor, and the Supreme Court, saying that we're going to make changes to the JCC because of this. So I do want to give some credit there, but there's a lot of things that were concerning inside of that. And then, of course, all the news outlets said that Supreme Court Justice Hagan resigned because of pressure from Republican leaders. The evidence made Supreme Court Justice resign. And they did not want those text messages out, and I can understand why after reading those. But she, Governor Cox, before calling us into a special session, the House was ready to go into a special session to investigate. Before we went in, called us into a special session, he said, I just want to give Justice Hagan an opportunity to resign. And so that's what happened, and that was the process that we went through. But again, we're sometimes, and lo and behold, now gave us a new Supreme Court with 4 of the 7 members now in the new Supreme Court. So it's it really kind of changed the dynamics, I think, in how we move forward.
Kind of the other part of that question was, you mentioned Utah is great at protecting our kids. You also addressed the declining birth rates. My question is there a way through the legislative arm to encourage the courts to stop holding up the abortion laws and put pressure on those blocks?
Yeah, so I think what you'll see, I think with the Constitutional Court, with the 3-member Constitutional Court, of course, all the groups suing the state of Utah came together, and because this Constitutional Court's bad for them, they want one judge inside Salt Lake City making the decisions, right? So they sued us and put that Constitutional Court on hold. We just went over the timeline and approved the timeline with the courts earlier this week. We think that decision will be made by September, and then it will go to that 3-member Constitutional Court and go through that process. I can't tell you the timeline, but I feel a lot better about the outcome and that it actually will move now. Because there was no incentive to move that along, because they put a stay in place and would not let our law become effective. So they were just dragging the time out. But I'm confident. I feel a lot better that a 3-panel judge will move that along.
Okay, more redistricting questions. I'm sorry. There's a lot. This one's interesting. Was the new Democrat district in Salt Lake City racially drawn? If so, can this be invalidated by the new Supreme Court? This is a good one.
So look, there's a couple pathways. We on the courts, and that's why we kind of want to let this play out. We think that we're going to get a favorable outcome with this Supreme Court here in the state of Utah now. Again, you never know, but we think, and depending on, there's a lot of different ways they could rule on. They could address a whole bunch of different things in that, as far as what does alter and reform mean, which goes into more of the initiatives and what led the decision from 2024 that led to this current decision. They could dive into that, or they could just address the redistricting issue. We don't know exactly what's going to happen with that yet, but if the good news is, if we have a pathway to the Supreme Court, in the United States Supreme Court. But we have to go through the need to apply to go to the United States. I think that we feel a lot better today about getting this resolved through the courts than we did 6 months ago or even 2 months ago. So I think there's some opportunity there. We'll make a whole bunch of different arguments around to the Supreme Courts, both Supreme Courts, around why this map was gerrymandered and why it's not best for the state of Utah, as well as who's constitutionally has the authority to draw the maps and pick the maps.
Okay, one last one. You've been really passionate about federalism. Can you just talk to us about?
Yeah, so federalism I have, it's been one of the, and I'll tell you why I became so passionate about it. So when I first became speaker, it was the last year of the Biden administration. And anytime you get the last year of an administration, you're going to get a whole bunch of new rules coming at you and executive orders. And it was every week I was getting pulled into a meeting by one of the different departments of the state, talking about a new rule coming at us or a new executive order coming at us that was forcing Utah to become like California, Oregon, and Washington. And there's actually a rule passed that would have forced us to at which we get 60 to 70% of our power from here in the state of Utah. And so, and I could go down a whole list of other things, but so I became really passionate at that point in time about federalism. And so if you know Ken Ivory, with Representative Ivory, know how passionate he is about federalism as well. So Ken and I came together and we started to lead. I said, I want to bring together 8 speakers from across the country. I started making calls, and I called Speaker Huffman from Ohio, and he says, I'm one step ahead of him. I'm like, great, I want to jump on your team. So I was thinking just Republicans, if we get 8. He was like, we're going bipartisan, we're going to do it through NCSL. And so we worked together. Speaker Huffman's leading that charge out of Ohio. I'm fortunate enough to be on the steering committee to help make those decisions. And on my way down here this morning, I just had a phone call with them. We're now bringing under them, Ken Ivory's been working with the group. So this is all the elected speakers and presidents across the nation that's part of this organization that Speaker Huffman and myself and a handful of others put together. We went to Ohio. We had 7 presidents and speakers there from 31 states, bipartisan. This is a bipartisan issue, okay? And Representative Ken Ivory has been working all across the country for decades. He's got a cohort of lawmakers all across the country. We're going to now put that effort that Ken has led right underneath the leadership effort, part of the NCSL program. It's a bipartisan effort. Of course, the Democrats are screaming, ready to go right now, right? So we're going to take, and we have a Trump administration who is, and I could go on all day about the things the Trump administration is doing for Utah, pushing the power and back to the states. And so we're trying to do all we can to qualify that. It really has been incredible. There's a lot of neat things happening. So.
All right, you're done.
Well, thank you. I'll sit down. You guys, thank you so much for having me out. I truly meant what I said about Washington County. Keep involved, keep pushing Utah to be conservative. Thanks, Rob. Thank you.
See, I told y'all he was awesome. So grateful for all that he's doing for the state of Utah. I do need one last announcement. If you are interested in joining Elephant Club, reach out to Brandon or Shane. You know, Shane, we stand up. These are our Elephant Club, and so please reach out to them if you want to join. We appreciate all of these organizations and all of the work they do towards promoting conservative voices and conservative causes, because we know that that's really what best protects our freedoms and values, and I'm so grateful for that. So I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right.
So moved.
See you all next month.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.